Hello, it is Kim, and it is April 25th, 2024 already. Now, I am doing this a little bit early. I'm cat sitting, and you're probably going to see cats slash kittens. I don't think either is a year old. One's name is Sammy, one is Theo. Theo has the long, like, white socks if he comes up, and when I yell, all the cards are going to fall. The dry food already went everywhere. So I accidentally scared him by like walking into the room, I guess, too fast. This is the technically the fourth location that I've stayed at in the last few weeks. I stayed at a hotel for 2 days, and then friends bookending that, and then I have this. I we call it a casting job, but really it's a really good way homeless Kim can earn her keep and do good things at the same time while having a space while people are gone. So I'm more grateful for it for that nature of it. Um, I call it a small miracle. So I'll be here until Sunday morning, I think. I think that Saturday morning I have a break, and then I'll be taking care of the cats Saturday night, even though I'm here still. And then Sunday morning I'm moving out um, to one of my friends' houses again. Like rock, paper, scissors, Kim. Um, so we'll see. I don't have a place to decorate for Beltane for the first time pretty much ever. I haven't even bought ribbons yet. I don't I usually wear antlers. I don't even my antlers are in the house, probably contaminated, but the insulation is out. Things are progressing. It'd be nice to move out. Yes, ultimate goal. But just being able to breathe there and to be able to like thrive physically is okay for now. I say that for now. It's not a caveat. It's not a, oh, this is the end. There's things that have to happen. But yeah. So if you see a cat, I'm both happy for you and sorry because it might mess with the reading. I have 3 decks. I might have had a fourth deck. I think I have a fourth deck in my car, but like I have like 4 decks right now. So that I'm grateful for. I try to say I'm sorry a lot less than I have been, but this is one of those things where I am like legit. Like I try to keep things fresh. So I am a bit sorry. um, Circumstances are circumstances. And this is the Beltane tarot. And this is going to take us in through the Beltane energy. Beltane for the Northern Hemisphere is going to be May 1st. That is I think that's Wednesday already. And then, of course, same thing goes to principal. You'll have the fall, equinox. So, is it equinox? I don't think so. I think it is one of our midways. Whatever. You'll have Samhain. It's been a rough day with lots of cats and a lot of work. Didn't know how much work I did that I don't get paid for. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's good stuff, necessary stuff, things I'm good at. Takes time. All right. So we have Seasons of Witch, Beltane. All of that to say that. We have Sacred Earth Oracle. Okay. I'm like, all of these are really technically oracles. And then the Creativity Oracle. We've used all three of these before. And like, I'm using the Creativity Oracle as really as like clarifying cards or if I need Seasons of the Witch to do one for clarifying. Because like our first one is an upside down. I mean, it's reverse. This doesn't really have like reversals as much. We've gotten this before 3 times. Okay, I've only used this deck like 3 times. All right. like legit, like legit. So it has to mean that it is a powerful influence. If the card comes up that many times, and let me tell you, my friends, I am shuffling, I'm cutting the deck, I am cutting the deck not in just three parts, but in four, and then inverting them. That I mean, like it wanted to come out. Wildcat 44. Be still and tune in, for there's something afoot lurking alongside you. Okay. So this is one of those you have to take it as it resonates. I really do get the guardian angel, guardian spirit, my guardian grandma's sort of feel. Now, this has the horns, sort of has that sort of masculine presence. So it could be even person in their masculine energy, or it could just mean that there's some path that before us, and that we are being guided by whatever you believe down that path. Or maybe they're not guiding us, maybe they're just holding our hands and saying, we've got your back. Okay, so that is here. Now they definitely do say a foot lurking. So if you feel sort of like mm, like a negative icky sense, then perhaps you should first look within yourself. And second, if it's still there, if there's a persistent fear, look at your actual physical surroundings and make sure there aren't actual people that are lurking. Okay, be safe. In other words, be safe. And if it's not a matter of safety, there's no one actually there, it would be like in the spirit world or whatever. Then you have like options, right? Black tourmaline around your neck is a great way. I've been getting scratches without, I was not giving myself scratches. How about we put it that way? And the black tourmaline stopped the scratches from reoccurring because it had happened several times. So like things like that. So like if you have like this weird sort of present, there's several different ways of doing it. When you put a pinch of salt over your left shoulder for, because, of luck or whatever, it actually sort of creates a salt boundary if you like really want to like delve into it with not even just the folklore, but like think about the folk spirit. Oh, for good luck. Well, it's at least halfway around you, right? So it's a less intentional circle, right? But it does give and offer some protection. So look for mundane, but then also things that can just perhaps ease you if you're feeling anxious about presence. Sure, the cat, probably with the cat box. Apologies. Now, our next card, self worship. Okay. I always give you the numbers in case they reduce to or have an angel number that means something to you. It's 37. This was also inverted. My hands fold as I speak to the stars, watching as the sky holds its breath. It's in stillness that I find all that I am and all of divinity within me. So, yes, this is a really difficult message, though, isn't it? Let's look in a mirror. I can see all the flaws. Begin to zoom. I can see all of my flaws. Oh, my hair is fly away. I should have had that darker lipstick in the car. I didn't put the glitter on. I mean, like I could go endlessly. Okay, endlessly. So if it's inverted and we're not recognizing ourselves as our god or goddess or a combination thereof, then perhaps we have a little bit more to do than just look in the mirror. Like you can say all the affirmations that you want, but if you don't believe it, it's not gonna work. So like I feel a lot more confident after an archaeology dig. Now, does everyone else feel a lot more confident? Perhaps not. My mentor usually is like, "Oh, she didn't die. Oh, she didn't die." I can only most see it because at the beginning I fell every time. I think he was expecting me to go into a log, get bit by a snake. No, I'm not. exactly not accident prone. I fell and my all right, yeah. So truth comes out. I fell and my backpack held all my equipment. It was on my back, okay, like you do, right? Yeah. So it had my trowel in it. My trowel should have been more secure than it was, but I didn't expect what happened. It flew out like a knife. Okay. So like other people might fear me in the wrong way, right? Oh, she's going to kill us. What's he checking me? She's gonna kill us, right? All right. But when I got over like the embarrassment, I'm trying to keep up with like a dude that has to be 6'5", been an archaeologist a hell of a lot longer than me. Actually, like probably works out. Yeah. And I was able to keep up with him pretty good. And then I was like looking at my mirror, and over a course of a year, not my body changed. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my body did change. It got stronger, much stronger. I developed muscle, but back telling, you know, if we're looking in the mirror, you can still see all this fat. Okay, all that skin. And what they don't tell you, I was always told as a child, well, if you had muscle, that would go away. Well, I have muscle. Now my shirts fit even worse because I have the diameter of the muscle. I still have the fat. Liars. But some of that is like understanding our bodies, what is possible, what is not. And am I better off? Do I feel better about just being me? Let's not even talk about, what I perceive and look at. Like if I wear a tight shirt, I'm gonna be upset. Oh my gosh, my arm. It's even bigger than usual. But if I'm just plain old Kim or in my tanks or whatever, I'm probably gonna be like, I feel really strong. I really did a good job today. I didn't do the best I could, but next time I'm going to do better. It gives me purpose. And sometimes that purpose and that excitement and that joy makes us perceive ourselves in the mirror differently. So you can't just go up to the mirror and go, look at my beautiful, and then not have an actual answer. Okay. So, like, I can say everything negative about my body that I want. But, you know, in 3 weeks from where I thought I was going to die, I thought I was dying at my house. I was able to go on a hike with steel toed boots, heavy. I was not my best, not at all, not at all my best. I've lost a lot of muscle and strength and everything since December and January. But I saw that I could stand and I could move in them and I could go uphill and I could be on grass and I could go around, and I was having them puffing. But before I was just standing there and I thought I was gonna faint. So when you look in the mirror, give yourself credit for not just what you see physically, but all that you are, the feel and what you could be. And I say could be is I don't mean like make a list of stuff that um you need to work on. I mean like what is an activity that you think that would make your life better? And if running is really it, sure, go for it. I don't run. But if um that's not true. I run if something is chasing me. But if, you know, there's something that is fun, that is intellectual, and that makes you feel good, there's plenty of different hobbies that entails. I guarantee you that if your body feels good, and I don't mean by exercise and diet and okay, whatever, that's on the side, whatever, that's your business, not mine. But if you feel good about yourself, if you feel strong, if whatever you do makes you feel positive about yourself, sometimes looking in the mirror requires action. So I think having it inverted is a call to action. Like different therapists will say, well, name one good thing about that part of the body you don't like. I say you're probably still gonna not like it. But if you're really self worshiping, if you're worshiping almost prayer to yourself, then I think that if you see yourself as a god, goddess, blah, 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 divine, you have to give your body credit that it heals if you hurt yourself. And if it doesn't always heal the way that you want it to, find like another thing that like could make you feel stronger. And like I said, it's an action-based thing. Doesn't have to be exercise. Archaeology just like has the whole thing for me so that I can like be able to use it because it has like the I'm using my mind doing this. I am like having the the plasticity of my brain, healing from aphasia, all this stuff. It like checks all the boxes. And so when I'm done, I'm like, yeah, Kim, yeah. And sometimes there's self-loathing. A lot of times in the beginning, there's a lot of self-loathing. Um, but I kind of have to remind myself that I will catch up to that 6.5 foot, 6.5 foot There's a few of them. I just might have to go a little slower because I have short legs. Is that something that's inherently wrong? No. Is something that I should completely and totally beat myself up about? No. But it's knowing that, knowing your body. And I think that is self worship. So as we move into self worship, we learn ourselves. We learn just like in the divine, like you're praying to the divine, you ask the divine things, sort of asking our body to do things. Please, I really hope that you can wear steel-toed boots so then you practice. And it's not great. It's kind of clunky, and you're like, am I going to kill myself again? This is going to be awful. Am I just going to tip over? But then you test it. Go, not so bad. It's going to be better. Just wait until the 12-day dig. It's my example, but I think that I hope that everyone can like insert their own whatever that sort of checks all the boxes for them. We also had inverted, I know, and we got this again too, Maypole 24. I am fertile in what I seed, for there is reason to dance and drink upon the riches I receive. Now it's that Maypole. And this is like I said, this is like the ultimate Beltane card. This is like the Beltane ritual of doom. So maybe if it's inverted, we just need to plan for joy a little bit more. That's what I feel because the maypole to me is all about joy. Beltane is about fertility. Um, I would say the beginning of abundance as well. So 24, a maypole, get those ribbons out. Decorate your yard for me. Put a ribbon. That's cute. All right. And there's B. We might have gotten this one a few times ago. This is one. B. Don't drink all of life from one flower, for the many to taste and many to explore. Okay? And so maybe we don't get stuck in ruts. Maybe we don't settle. If we do settle, maybe it's not for eternity. There's movement, motion, a way forward, a way back. We can do what we need to do. Test the waters, see if we like something. If we don't, leave it, go back to something else. Now you see that she has a wreath of flowers, which is around her crown almost, around her head. And that is a huge um, image of Beltane, sort of like bringing the wild to you and you to the wild. And if there's no need to choose, that means there's just plan of action. Sort of like my friend, he's like, I play natural Pokemon. You find each type of flower and you get them all. And it sort of shows how like dorky we are. I'm talking about lithics and rocks and soils. And he's talking about flora and fauna and fungi. It's a pairing. It's perfect for a poet. But then again, why not? We're testing everything, drinking from every flower. I'm a wordsmith, so I drink from every word that I can get and every lexicon I can get. I think that everyone can relate their own sort of ideas of what they think those flowers might be, whether they be people or whether they be activities or books or whatever. There's plenty to choose from. We don't have to settle for just one. Our final card of the ones that I drew is the morning dew. I have not done this one. It's 26. What stillness does the silence of one's steadiness bring? Now, we just went through all of those sort of like almost like activity cards. And this one is the opposite, stillness. Can we find just as much clarity in stillness as we can in action? Yes. So, morning dew. What is it about it that takes us in, brings us in, and allows us to reflect on ourselves? I would say on where we've been and where we are going. I think that it is the most liminal card there is. It has water, it has the woods here, it has and then I also think between morning and night, everything, morning is pretty liminal. I also agree that night and sunset is as well. But I think that steadiness to begin the day, having that stable foundation that's inside allows us to do everything that we just talked about. I just got climb every mountain, uh sail every sea. I think I really got that wrong, but from The Sound of Music. If anyone is listening to The Sound of Music right now, thanks. Yeah, I don't know all the precise words. It's been too long, but it might be important to all right. Yeah. What stillness does the silence of one's steadiness bring? It's 26. And steadiness, I was just thinking as I read that again, steadiness doesn't mean lack of excitement or lack of anything. It sort of means um, being solid. You know yourself, you know your actions. You don't have to defend yourself. There are emotions, but they're sort of ones that you can take a step back from and see, am I overreacting or underreacting or right on target? Or do I need to talk to someone so that I can get this going? That's sort of like what steadiness is, knowing oneself. And that's how I feel like it is. Okay. Now, I was looking for this. Sacred Earth Oracle. I, of course, have used this before too. This one, first card, I actually fell, like the section fell on the floor, and this was the only one that was upright. And then I was holding two sections. I was trying to shuffle and also cut the deck apparently at the same time. It didn't work. This card fought to come out. and it's formation. And you can take any of these cards as you want to take them. You don't have to interpret them the way that I do. But to me, formation is a process of becoming that steady self, of becoming our next self. I don't believe that we stay ourselves, just one person, the entire time of our existence. We keep evolving, changing, we learn things. We decide things are good, bad, ugly. We shouldn't do this because of, then we can do this instead of. We sort of evolve and like we form into ourselves. Sort of like this looks like very much. I know she looks ethereal, but to me, she looks like she's a statue. I think that she's being sculpted, and I think sculpted is actually an actual one somewhere. Not that we pulled, but somewhere in the deck. But I do feel like this formation, like sometimes there's cheek matter, or sometimes a heart gets changed a little bit, or and we are forming into our true selves. I guess if you're really, really spiritual about it, you're already that spiritual being, and then you're awakening, and your body becomes that formation. You form yourself to be you. If you really want to get to where people are like, woo woo, um, you would say that, you're incarnated here, and therefore you've already chosen to be formed a certain way, and now it's just a process, and that you have to follow that process and be okay with it. And that's your woo-ness for the day. I don't make it up. Rediscovery. So I just kicked the cat. So you have rediscovery that childlike self, rediscovery of your innocence, rediscovery of a lot of things. Some things we know, and then we have to look back up, right? You know that question for a test, and then it escapes you. And a year later, you're like, I know that word. It just drives you nuts, and you have to rediscover it. You have to look it up. The same sort of each cycle, I would say, both of our life, like if you think of a tarot cycle, or of just like hmm, of life as a cycle, we are constantly repatterning ourselves and rediscovering. We discover our child, we rediscover our teenagehood. We like get tinsel because you can't like, dye your hair right now because it's gonna all bleed out when you're on a dig. And like we we have to discover ourselves again. We have to rediscover whimsy. We have to realize that life is more important, like living life, than sometimes money, than sometimes anything. Sometimes just being ourselves is more important than having a family unit. I mean, like, there's a whole bunch of different things that we have to like tally and understand and like wrestle with. But sometimes it'll just come clear. An action will be taken and we react and we're like, oh, we have to just rediscover whoever it is we are needing to know ourselves at the time, whatever time period. We like relearn who we are, who we were, and need to be again. All right. And that one is sort of a take it as you resonate because it's not the easiest message. The next one is patterns. And sometimes patterns are good. You like patterns and quilts, and if you're weaving, and a lot of our lives follow a sort of similar pattern, biologically, usually, like we can like come up with some basic patterns, right? They're not always great though. What if we want to change our pattern? Maybe it's not even a negative pattern, but maybe it's a stagnant pattern. Every Friday, I watch the same show. Then we binge watch on Saturday. We play our game. I see my child, blah, 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 blah. We have dinner 3 times a. Sometimes things get old. you have pizza 3 times a week and you decide you don't want pizza, it's like going against a pattern, right? So just think about that pattern. Like there's patterns that are great, and maybe we need to reflect on those. And then there's the patterns that we might want to shake up. All of that so that we revitalize ourselves, we rediscover ourselves, we come back to who like we want to be as our baseline. It doesn't mean it's like who we were before. I'm like not saying that we have to take 3 steps back and become somebody else. It'll still be us. We'll still have all of our memories and all of our experiences, good, bad, negative, positive, all the synonyms. But we're still might be in the same place. We might be doing the same things as that person. We might decide we really like the color blue again instead of only wearing black. It didn't happen for me. Sorry, I tried. But for like patterns, there's so many of them. It's just sort of a thing to think about. If it's a pattern, it's a habit, is it something that we want to keep going as a pattern and a habit? That's up to you. I really like this card. Potential. You see that child that actually looks like a woman. So maybe it's not even a child. Maybe it's like an inner child or a different woman peering out from her. You can see that there is like, I almost see it as like, yes, like that's a flourish or whatever. That's a flourish. But I see it definitely almost as bones, like a hold my roll. This is like where like my words escape me. It's not quite there, but I see it like a skull. Like intuitively, I see this woman that is like in touch with the spirit realm, with death, acknowledging bone, seeing the inner herself or themselves, can be masculine, of course, shadowed and peering out. And that potential, she could go forward, she could come out. I mean, like, death could come. There's so much. And one does not have to be like, oh, I'm going to die. This could just be like when I say that there's a skull, it's like a acknowledgement of death, of spirituality, of I am going to my ancestors as I come from my ancestors. Okay. Now, I even have problems with the word ancestor because I really don't know any of my family history. And when people say, oh, there's a whole line of ancestors behind you, I would really like to know who they are because I don't feel them. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm just saying I don't react to relate. It's like all of my connection goes towards like people that I've helped pass, that I have taken care of. And like I felt their hands, go limp. And I've said the last words to them and listened to their last words. And like that's a special type of bond. So I only hope that someone is there that is willing, if not loves me, to do the same for me. I was only family to one, and the other was not family, and their family was absent. So I made sure I was there. And I guess that's the type of love. Um, the next is listen. Listen to yourself, listen to nature, listen to your friends, listen to the community. Just see what needs there are, both within yourself and around you. I really feel like that this is like a need card, especially since I was talking about like helping people that were not even like my own family, you know, pretty much die and like, so like just listening to stories. listening to family stories, listening to your own stories, listening, just be quiet sometimes. One of our cards was, about being still and sort of being introspective. Well, this is being introspective, but it's also listening to the out. And with all that action that we've had, I I really get the intuitive sense that this is a listening so that there is an action and a helpful one. If somebody is crying, helping them not necessarily not cry, but to understand why they are crying and how you can help them. Like as an action, not just, oh, there. No. I mean, like you are crying for a good reason. How can I actually help you and make a difference in your life? That type of listen. All right. We have manifestation 37. Soon you may manifest the goal you focus spiritual energies upon. Okay, so some of that we were talking about, all that action. You can see there's birds flying, a woman going around. There's a large amount of I don't know if I would call it a city, but maybe it's a city in the background, mountains. Okay, so the world, really, right? She is going through the world, manifesting dreams. Capable 30. You can deal successfully with whatever changes and circumstances arise. Yes, damn it. Okay. This is a really, really hard one. Capable. I get the message that I'm not capable all the time. So, how, if no one else thinks that I'm capable, can I be thinking that I'm capable? Or I shouldn't say that. A lot of people think I'm capable, but the people that I should be closest to don't. So it's really difficult to then step out and be like, I am capable and can do this. There's so much doubt around it. So this, I feel like, is a confirmation of don't listen to that. I know that there's a listen card, but I think it really is like a listen to yourself and you are capable. You can do what you want to do in life. You need an action plan. You might need help, but you're capable. Limits. Number 38. Know that limiting attitudes are often formed as protective reactions to the past events. And we had this last week. And I feel this like my inner child is like an inner raging adult. Like, when does it become you're not inner child when you're still going through it when you're 41? My inner child never grew up. Like, people will say your inner child doesn't grow up. Well, then my inner teenager didn't grow up. Like, no one grew up. All right. I'm a 41-year-old that's still a child. So, limits. Know that limiting attitudes are often formed as protective reaction to past events. This can be just yesterday, and this can be in your childhood. Don't be afraid when things happen. Yes, they suck. Don't let anyone excuse it, but move forward, move stronger, and change your limits in the sense of knowing you you are unlimited and that you can do, like there's a boundary here. And somebody's crossed it, but you went bam. And then you put the boundary next 2 feet in front of you. And they get closer to that person and further away from you. Okay. That's being unlimited. And that's like not letting those limiting beliefs attack you. Or maybe it's a little bit slant. It's getting the same thing done, still feeling hurt, but going forward. Like sometimes we just need to go forward. Acknowledge our pain. Do not let people like hurt us. Don't be Kim, but keep going. I am learning this. I'm a 41-year-old child that is learning to be an adult. We can do this, right? All of us can do this. All right, direction. All right. That bird's going in another direction. Switch gears, reboot, and try a new and different direction. 39. This is sort of like my archaeology sort of thing, right? I'm a poet, I'm a writer. That's what I've made my name on. It doesn't exactly pay the bills, an archaeology won't either. But at the same time, something has changed in me. I talk about archaeology a lot. Most of my day is spent doing stuff for archaeology, the archaeology lab, or for something to do with archaeology. I don't know exactly when the shift happened. Still do my writing, of course. I still teach writing. I still do all the stuff. But there's a shift. I switched directions. I could have just gotten bored, complacent in writing. Instead, I changed gears. I think I'm going to become a real archaeologist. But all that scientific nomenclature has completely transformed my poetry, my styles, and being published in much better journals, much more ambitious journals, anthropology journals. So I mean, like, switching directions doesn't mean you give everything up in the past that you were doing. It doesn't mean like, yes, you can turn a corner, but that doesn't mean you don't take everything with you too. All those skills that you have, you take with you. I'm doing the Archaeological Society of Maryland's newsletter. I'm the editor of the ASM Inc. And I had all that English background, right? And I'm using it for archaeology. Okay, so maybe you just need to switch it up. Think about things differently. Freshen stuff. Seed. 15. Having the intention to grow like a seed and bloom at the heart of creativity. It is at the heart of creativity. Yeah, I hate how these are phrased. It's 15. Having the intention to grow like a seed and bloom is at the heart of creativity. So allowing yourself to be small, allowing yourself to be wrong, allowing yourself to go on to unfertile soil and still thrive. It's sort of like the poetic ambition and sort of the creativity. Now that's the last one that I drew. I'm being called to do another Seasons of the Witch, especially since like Beltane is nigh, right? It's really close. Really, really close. I can feel it, right? Um I'm also in touch with spirit world so at times. So um it's you. Let me try to get it. You. Oh, interesting. We got this before. Creation. 8. Excuse me, creation. 6. Through the darkness I crossed, and still I found myself in the presence of light. Okay. So, through all of our trials, tribulations, disbelief, unbelief, fears, uncertainties, imposter syndrome, we find that we can be reborn and we're in the presence of life. Calling for one more. Oak. 27. Don't just look within, dive deeply into the eternal realms of knowing. So we've been asked several times to reflect, to be still, sort of reflective silence, acknowledge ourselves. And now with this oak, don't just look within, dive deeply into the eternal realms of knowing. So that's within ourselves. But isn't that like all knowledge from folklore to science to knowing? So that's physical, like body knowing. There's some, I mean, like I want to skydive myself, and like I would like romance, and like there's different things that I like think about. I'm like, once before I die, I want to try this. Once before well, now is the time. That's like the physical, especially. At the same time, knowing, all knowing, seeing different things, the vastness. I went, must have, it was pre-COVID, so it's been a while. We went to the Grand Canyon, and it had been my dream. I read a book that talked about it, and it was very romantic and all the stuff. And I went and I saw the sunrise. I saw the sunset over the canyon and into the canyon. And it was like there's nothing more holy, and there's also nothing that makes me feel smaller than that vastness. All the stuff that I don't know. And like we have to acknowledge that we don't know it, but that doesn't mean that we don't pursue it. And like just pursuing it gives us all of our cards, right? I mean, gives us it all. Sort of like the pursuit of knowledge of ourself, of going through self-doubt onto the other side, of having the intention to grow like a seed. And be at the heart of both creativity, if that is what you want to call it, or even yeah, at any crossroads. Beltane is a crossroads season for me. Um, Samhain and Beltane. And it just depends what hemisphere, okay? If you yeah. As liminal as you can possibly get. Sometimes I can feel, people take my hand that aren't there. And I always see shadow figures and shades and shadows that shouldn't be there. I feel like our world is both more full and more empty during these times. And so much more beautiful on both sides. I am just as much as in love with death as I am with the love of life. And that is myself. That doesn't mean you, but me. And during these liminal times, creation, creativity, love, um, everything that what I consider like I embodies the poetic ideal, even tribulations that have the poetic ideal are probably gonna be going on right now. Sort of like these little needly tests, different people that hurt you that you have to decide, well, do I forgive them or and that's where boundaries come. You can have a boundary and still forgive the person. I have a hard time with that right now. I'm not forgiving anybody. Will I someday? Probably. Probably. I know myself. I usually can forget more than I forgive. Um, but it comes. I don't forgive easily. And nothing about any of this says anything about easy. So we're being tested in this liminal time to grasp our shadow selves, our ghostly selves, say, take me somewhere, bring me to where I'm supposed to go. And I, of course, myself, um, am dehomed or am homeless right now. For now, I mean, like, eventually the house will be repaired and hopefully it won't make me sick. But during this time, I am learning I can trust people. I can depend on people that I was told I was not couldn't depend on. I'm learning about myself, about my fears, about what is limiting. Okay, so sometimes we're put into like situations that are totally, totally uncomfortable and like, but Even though the situation sucks and is inexcusable, whatever the word is, like how we perceive ourselves changes, and that can be good. I'm going to wish everyone a blessed Beltane or a blessed Samhain. Happy liminal times. Farewell. Be well. Ah, it's still April when I am, recording this. So read a poem for National Poetry Month or look at something for archaeology in Maryland for Maryland's Archaeology Month. Take care. Be well. So it is.